Thanks, Zach. Um, so Cliff like looks through the notes and sort of uh, tries to casually
Oh,
ignore all the Bishi animes.
and she turns to a page for you and says, "So we have a general area where we had tracked down where we think he was keeping his coffin. Now that he's dead, we should go there during the day, just to be safe, and check it out and see what sort of vampire lair he had."
That's a good idea. But I think today I'm just gonna ask about the key that we found in Dark Arts Club. Sort
And she
of,
says, "Oh right, let me see that key again."
sure. And I hand it over.
All right. She looks at it, and I guess she'll roll. All right, she says, "Oh, you know what this looks like? This looks a lot like the keys for the locks in the locker rooms, doesn't it? In the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that I never really looked too hard at those keys, but do you think this could be one of them?"
Maybe, I guess. Well, I was planning on skipping gym with, my hand all fucked up, but
And she says, "I'm sure that the coach would let you sit out if you just show him your hand."
yeah. Well, let's use my always come prepared and say that he has a doctor's note.
Okay. And she says, "While you're sitting out at gym, maybe check and see if any of the lockers in the boys' locker room don't have a key, and I'll do the same for the girls' locker room and report back."
All right, and then we'll check it out after school.
Cool. You do like a little like go team fist. So you put all your fists in the middle and then go up in the air. Yeah.
Yeah!
Go, Simon and the Belmonts.
Yeah, vampire slaying.
So kawaii.
Go
All
team
right.
venture.
So moe.
Annika, where do you sit?
Well, Annika brought her own lunch, and it's in a very professional plastic brown paper bag. And she is looking around, and she isn't going to sit down, but she is dropping by the table over here.
Oh.
And she smiles and says, "Oh, hi, Matt."
Matt turns to you and looks at you nervously. Upon realizing who you are, he says, "Oh, hi, Annika. Anything I can do for you?"
Oh, I was just wondering if you wanted to catch up after school or anything like that.
A look of dread goes over his face, and he says, "Oh, yeah, after school. I will meet you after behind. Yeah."
Behind the
wonderful.
school with the French fries.
Oh, hold on just a second. Okay, and then I approach the popular girl table, and I say hello to everybody, and I am smiling pretty much to every table that I pass by.
All right. People look at you and kind of smile back, surprised that someone's being nice to them. And as you sit down at Tiffany's table, she says, "Oh, hi, Annika. Why don't you sit down?"
I wait for them to be polite, and so whoever moves properly, I will sit in the space provided.
Dude, Dane just
Yeah.
scooted right out of the way.
She pushes Dane out of the way.
Okay.
She doesn't really she doesn't really care about him anymore.
I give an apologetic smile to Dane.
He looks at you and smiles back.
I'm gonna wait. If I roll hot, am I gonna piss people off?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't. Just because they feel it doesn't. Whoa!
Oh my god!
Dane has a crush on you. Or
Boner
was that
time.
toward Dane or toward Tiffany?
I think everyone at the table now has a crush on him.
Well, that was going towards Dane, but can I say it was toward Tiffany now?
Yes.
Okay.
Tiffany says, "Annika, I just know that you and me are going to be best friends." On hearing the word best friends, Allison looks at you across the table suspiciously, but she just can't help but like you because you're so great.
I'm pretty great.
Jesus Christ, Garbat.
What are the odds of getting 2 6 plus 6 in a row?
I could find that out in a second.
Oh, that'd
but,
be real easy to figure out. Hold on.
Yeah. It's 36.
1/72nd.
Okay, so pretty low.
Statistics with the Scottish drop.
That was a 1. Oh, I fucked it up then.
So you sit at the table and you talk to the girls, and you learn that Tiffany is having a big party this weekend, this Saturday, at her house. It's her birthday this weekend, and she always throws a really big party. And everyone, so she's talking about all the plans that she's making, and she says, "I still haven't decided what band I'm going to hire. That's what I need to decide before Wednesday," she says.
Please let it be the Xanarkin Dabes.
Do I know any of the bands in the local area?
You know the Xanarkin Dabes.
Well, I do know the Xanarkin Abes. Do you need help setting up or anything like that? I could show up and help you guys out.
And she's like, "Oh no, we have help for that. Just bring your pretty face."
Okay.
And then she says, Allison and Lily are going to stay after the party so that we can have a slumber party for just my inner circle of best friends. And she says, maybe you should also bring a sleeping bag.
Oh, I would love to go. I could probably just pack something in my car.
And she says, "Oh, you have a car?"
Yeah, it's not the nicest car. Daddy wanted me to have something practical.
What kind of car do you have?
It's a Hyundai.
Actually, Dane's gonna ask.
It's
what
a
kind
Hyundai.
of car do you have?
I don't know enough about cars to say which type.
It doesn't matter because it's Hyundai. and
Shots fired.
And so he's like, "Cool. It's cool that you have a car."
Yeah, it's we live pretty far away, so it just helps. I don't think the buses really go that far, and it's a bit of a drive, but you do what you got to do. Dad thought that this was a much better school overall, and so he did what he had to do to get me here.
And Tiffany's gonna ask you about your previous school and why you moved here. So she's like, "Oh, what school are you from?"
Well, it's kind of a smaller school. It didn't have the same variety of classes. It didn't have the same type of people, if you know what I mean. And so
Tiffany knows what you mean.
And so Dad just thought it would be better if I came to this school instead. Oh, you should have some of this jerky. We just prepared it. Dad goes hunting, and I prepare it, and it is an ancient family recipe, and I think all of you should try some of it, because this batch came out really good.
They all try some, and when you mention hunting, actually, Allison, being the southern person in the group, is like, "Oh, you and your family go hunting?"
Yeah, we actually, Dad likes to go deer hunting, and so I'm not caught up on the calendar. Do you think it's about season?
I don't know anything about hunting season.
I don't know either.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, yeah.
Let's
Winter
not
time.
think about it.
Winter,
Yes.
autumn.
Let's
And,
maybe start the school year.
Yeah, and Allison lets you know that she's never gone before, but her family, her father and her older brother go hunting a lot, and so she's like sort of familiar with it. So she actually, any previous slights are immediately forgiven.
Oh, that's convenient.
She likes you too.
Well, if you ever wanted to come, just let me know. I'm sure Dad would allow me to bring along somebody. I'm sure you're not significant. You're probably going to be just as good as I am with a gun, at least.
Oh man. So let's see. So generally, yeah, everybody at the table just loves you. You're the best. You're invited to all the cool kids' parties.
That's convenient.
It is. Oh wait, okay. There is one negative Nancy. Lily is gonna look at you and be like, "Why were you talking to Matt Martinez?"
Oh, it was just a friend of a friend kind of thing. He's just being polite.
And she says, him and all of his friends are all into drugs. It's super gross. Also, he smells bad.
Hygiene can be a problem among his family.
Tiffany laughs at your joke about someone else's family. So you've charmed everyone at the table. So who's next?
Okay, I'll be right back.
Orville.
Orville goes to sit with his quote-unquote friends at this point. He's not really sure exactly what the fuck it stands, except for that they may not actually be his friends.
Alright, so you sit down and they all say hello to you. Lazarus asks you, has any of your memory returned since we last met?
I don't know, let's see. 2d6 plus 1 dark. Whoops, I keep forgetting the slash roll. Yep.
Alright, so...
Orville just kind of nods a little bit.
Yeah, and he says, how much do you remember? And do you say all the stuff that you've seen so far?
No, Orville just kind of mumbles something about having things that people didn't want, but not anything else about what he thinks of that or anything.
Alright, but you do talk about having things that people didn't want?
Yeah.
Alright, once you say that, all of them, shift uncomfortably and look at you with their eyes wide, and Lazarus says, "Thank you for your great sacrifice, my friend."
You know what? I think Orville's gonna try and shut him down. I think Orville's a little tired of his shit. All this about great sacrifice, and well, that didn't work at all. Orville just kind of stutters and is going to try and say something clever, but doesn't think of it until 10 minutes after lunch ends.
Aww.
God, I hate when
That's a very fucking Orville thing to do.
Yeah. So let's see. So while you're sitting at the table, when they talk among themselves, they talk about bands that they've seen and TV shows that they've watched, and Samson tries to bring up a show. What anime does he try to bring up, Fat Larry?
Well, naturally, given that it just is, they're remaking it as a what do they call it? Where they do like the big they redo it with high production values. I can't remember because that's it. They're doing a new version of Magical Girl Ayn Rand, so he's going to talk about Maho Shoujo Ayn Rando.
They are.
All right, so he starts to say something about that, but all the others quickly tell him to shut up and shush him, and he says, "Oh, sorry," and doesn't talk about it anymore.
I slip him the drawing I did in my last class under the table.
He opens it, looks at it, closes his eyes, and shakes his head very slowly, and hands it back to you.
I just kind of take it back and then stare down at my Pocky and keep eating that same single stick of Pocky.
So
in silence.
Alright. So, let's see. Next, unless you have anything else you want to do, let's have Vara and Lowell.
Alright. I'm just gonna be like, hold on, Vara, there's something I gotta take care of.
Alright, man, I got your back. Let's do it.
Alright. Make my way up to the jock table. I don't sit down or anything, I just kind of put my hands on the table and be like, okay, this has been bugging me since Friday night. The Calvin ball makes no sense.
And they all look at you and laugh and smile, and they're like, I know, it can seem like that sometimes, but we're happy to explain it to you if you want, sometime.
The whole time you're trying to explain it to me is like, you're just making up the rules as you go along.
Dick Johnson looks at you and says, but that's how Calvin ball is played, don't you understand?
How can that be? There's fucking TV tournaments of Calvin ball. People are just making up the rules as like, What?
Lucas Cage turns to you and puts a single hand on your shoulder and says, I think you're taking this a little bit too seriously.
Don't touch me.
I got your back, man. Don't touch him.
Jack Sweeney says, it's just Calvin Ball.
How can this be an organized sport?
Riley Davis says, well, I mean, Calvin Ball's been around forever. Sure, not all of the rules are as perfect as they could be, but people have been playing Calvin Ball since, a couple centuries ago.
It just blows.
Hello?
It's
Grassland?
And then she shows up.
15 minutes late with a cup of coffee from Starbucks.
Don't worry, all you've missed is a werewolf going up to a table of jocks going, what the fuck is wrong with your sport?
And also
Calvin Ball?
Garbad rolling fucking 14 on hot twice in a row.
Yeah,
Let me get my thing set up and I'll be in.
Yeah, get on in, and then we'll have you go to Fairy Church.
Which I completely forgot about, which is going to be really entertaining.
Meanwhile,
a day and a half ago.
yes.
You guys are nerds.
Alright.
Solomon
What?
Grundy.
Well, we can just wrap this up real quick, then we can go back in time.
Yeah. Alright, so they don't really know what to say to you about Calvin Ball because, you're insulting their way of life.
If we can just fucking make up rules as we go along, I guarantee you, I can beat you guys all at your own game. Me
And they
against
all
all
look
you
at
guys. Me against all you guys in gym. Calvin Ball.
And they look at you, and Dick Johnson says, "Hey, man, we don't need to be on teams. We're just, we're all together as the one Calvin Ball team. If you want to try out, then, we're having tryouts for new members."
Don't join their team. They're a bunch of jerks.
I don't know if I'd want to be it. No, I'm better than you guys. I don't want to be with you guys. I'm better than you guys.
Lucas looks at you and says, "Well, good for you, bro, but we're just interested in playing Calvin Ball and having fun."
Oh, fuck this. I'm angry now. I'm just leaving.
I follow you.
Let's sit with
man.
the cool kids who don't care about anything.
Those guys are jerks.
You go up to the stoner table, and Melissa says, "Hey," and Tim and Matt say, they acknowledge that you're here.
I plop down between my best friend and my best girl.
All right. Melissa says, "Hey, Vara."
Hey, Melissa. Hey, girl. This is how teenagers flirt, right?
So you are sitting next to. Okay. So Tim moves a little bit closer to Melissa and says, "Oh, hi. I didn't get a chance to meet you. I'm Tim. I'm Melissa's boyfriend."
Ah! Oops. Oh my god!
Is that your IRL
No,
reaction?
that's not my in character. That's my IRL reaction. That's inside Vara's head reaction.
Screams internally.
She screams internally. She immediately goes from genuinely smiling to like scary forced fang smiling. Oh, hi! It's nice to meet you, Timothy.
And Melissa's like, "Yeah, Tim and Matt are in the band, the Xanarch and Abes."
Yeah.
And Tim's like, "Yeah, I've been in the Abes for, over the summer. Joined with my brother John and his friend Josh, and, it's pretty cool. I think that, it's appreciate you guys coming to check us out."
Well, this was a delicious lunch. And she just pushes her lunch tray onto the floor. I must
All right,
be going now.
hold steady, hold steady.
I have to roll steady to have a complete meltdown.
You have to roll to not have a complete meltdown. You successfully do not have a complete meltdown.
Excellent.
Good job.
Just a minor meltdown.
Get
Just
out.
sort of.
All right.
Well, I will be going now. I will see you in the learning class.
Lol, it's just there.
God damn it, I just sat down.
You know what the frog says. Get out.
All right. So do any of you guys acknowledge Fenris at all?
No.
I think we're a little caught up in our own problem.
No.
For the 2 minutes they were in
All
the
right.
lunchroom.
Do you have a conversation over here between yourselves?
You're cooler than him. Just keep at it.
She has a boyfriend.
You're cooler than him. Keep at it. I'm gonna give you the I'm gonna give you the shittiest advice. All right.
All right.
A person without a significant other. You had to prove that you're better than the rest of the world to get their attention. A person with a significant other, you only have to prove you're better than one person.
Let's beat the shit out of that guy. Let's just beat the snot out of him. Let's just punch him until he pees blood.
If you think that's going to impress her,
dear.
all right, I'll pencil him in right after Fenris.
I mean, it'll make me feel better.
All right, so I got 2:30 Fenris, and then how long do you think it's going to be?
I
3
pull
o'clock.
out my strategy book too. I guess maybe 3:30 to give an adequate window.
Yeah, 3. Well, wait, what's he doing?
Oh, that's we haven't checked his schedule. I mean, let's pencil him in for 4 since all the after school activities will be done then. But
yeah,
if we catch him earlier, then
yeah,
we
they're
can
usually smoking behind the school around 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
We compare
didn't know-
bullying notes.
I did not know bullying was this intricate.
It's a science.
Apparently. All right. So Grasslam, you're here. Let's go back to Saturday and have you go to Fairy Church.
Oh God.
2 days ago.
If you would direct your attention to the pink square full of animes. Molly, so on Saturday morning, Molly's mom wakes her up and says, "Molly, we're going to the circle with all of the other fairy moms, and I'd like you to go because there are some so you can get to know those nice young fae girls from your school a little bit better."
Molly kind of just mumbles something and rolls her face into the pillow.
She yells at you and says, "Molly, honey, you get up right now and go to Fairy Church, or else you are grounded."
You can't do that.
Yeah, she can. She's a goddess. She says, "Yes, I can, young lady. Now you hurry up right now, or I will drag you by the horns there myself."
Go ahead.
You're
Hold
gonna
steady.
roll the hold steady, yeah.
Oh God, I hate rolling dices.
Roll cold.
Look at them animes.
God damn it!
Roll 2d6. I think +1 for you for cold.
There we go.
Oh no, it is -1.
Ah!
That's okay. We'll just so 2d6 is 8, -1 is 7. So you. All right, so you managed to hold steady. So your mom, being a horse, does her usual thing and grabs you and yanks you out of bed.
Don't
But
fuck with the horses.
This is normal for you.
Pretty much.
She picks you up by the scruff of your neck and plops you down in front of your sink and hands you your toothbrush and says, "Get ready. We're leaving in 15 minutes."
Well, deciding after being dragged out of bed, she kind of just goes with it, grumbling. Pretty much gets her shit together and puts a couple books in her purse.
All right, so you get into the mystical minivan and you drive. And you drive along, the beams of the moon to where the, dewdrops glisten on a field at midnight, and you get out and join the fairy circle. There's your mom and a bunch of your mom's friends, older fae folk and various lesser deities, and they all get together and start talking about fairy stuff, and they generally just, they chit-chat. It's moms, so they're also talking about their kids, and they're talking about, oh, how are you doing, how's your husband, how is little Molly doing in school. You see a few of these older fairies that are like, oh, Molly, you've gotten so tall since the last time I saw you. And how do you feel about that? Are you embarrassed, or?
She kind of just rolls her eyes at this kind of stuff.
All right, they're like happy to see you and stuff, and they're like glad. Yeah. They're glad that you showed up because you don't show up very often. And then your mom finds. So then the adults are all sitting around conducting business, and. You see that the three anime fairies, Entropy, Rain, and Sunrise, are sitting off to the side looking at you.
She kind of takes out a book, which is pretty much really out of place, and just hides behind it.
All right, you start reading a very official-looking book that is very clean and crisp and not mystical-looking in any way. And the three of them end up walking up to you. Hey.
Here. She tries to ignore them.
Hey, you.
I'm trying to ignore.
Entropy takes your book and like pushes it down so that you have to look up at her.
Hey, what's your problem?
And they're like, I thought it was her. And Sunrise looks down at you and she says, you upset my plans.
And I'm supposed to care why?
And she says, don't you want to join us and be with the other fairies? I don't understand.
No, I don't. Why do I have to join you guys just because I'm one of you guys?
And Rain looks at you and says, but, I mean, that's just what you do. You're a fairy, we're fairies. We thought that you were going to be the fourth member of our fairy circle.
She just sighs and rolls her eyes. That is so illogical.
That would be a square.
So Entropy, the yandere one, looks at you and is like, she doesn't want to have anything to do with us. She thinks she's better than us.
I am better than you.
Oh shit.
I think you gotta roll for something for that.
Yeah, roll cold again to shut them down. D6. D6.
On the one hand, that's the wrong dice type. On the other hand, Jesus Christ, an 18 and a 20.
That was a good roll.
I think you should let her keep the 40.
Holy shit.
Alright, but it's 2d6 minus 1, so that means 6 minus 1 is 5, which means you do not actually shut them down. So they don't take it as an insult so much, and they continue to press you. And Sunrise says, but you're one of us. You're a fairy just like all of us. You're no different than us.
She kind of just stares at them and sighs again. Why do I have to be one of you guys?
And they're like, because it's how you were born, Molly. You were destined to be here, and all of us were, to serve the fairy king in his glittery glory.
And his giant codpiece.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to be one of you guys. I want to do what I want, not what he wants.
So Rain and Entropy are like, they've had enough of your shit, so they're gonna walk away, but Sunrise is gonna stay. And Sunrise looks at you and She takes her a minute. She looks down. She looks away. She looks at you, and she says, "I know that you don't want to be just like everybody else, but we're just trying to be your friends because we do have one thing in common."
What is it?
Well, that we know are magic.
Magic is not exactly a real thing. It's not a solid thing that can be explained. Not like this, and then Molly holds up her book.
I'm
This
sorry, is the fairy
is
just
real.
saying that magic isn't real?
Yep.
Yup.
That's why I call her science, dear.
She wants to be a botanist.
Yeah, so all the fairy magic that these fairies use is illusion magic. So none of they create all kinds of illusions, but they don't actually, transmute matter or anything like that. So Sunrise is like, "Oh, well, it is kind of fun, isn't it?"
I have more fun with my books and my plants and my science classes. You have fun screwing around with stupid otakus who I have to save. By the way, fuck you.
Alright, roll again
Jesus.
to shut her down. 2d6
Stupid
minus 1.
otakus? Ow. He's really stupid though, so it's okay. It's accurate.
Alright, you successfully shut her down, and she looks at you, and tears well up in her big anime eyes, and she goes, and runs away and cries.
Molly clears as a small victory and goes back reading.
Alright,
Dude.
so...
Your dear mom's gonna be pissed.
Divac, you're making me feel
Yeah.
bad for the animes.
Divac made you feel bad for the animes.
Disappointed Orville didn't.
Oh goodness. Alright, so that's what you did at Fairy Church. When it came for your mom to come get you and take you home, she was very disappointed in you, and she was mad that you made the other fairies cry. And she looks at you and she's like, "Molly, why did you upset those other girls? They weren't doing anything to you."
They knocked out my book.
And she says, "Well, their mom said they just wanted to be friends with you."
I don't want to be part of that crazy fairy king summoning cult.
And she says, "Wait a minute, Fairy King summoning? What do you mean?"
They tried to summon the fairy king with some kid from my class.
And she's like, "They what?"
And then she repeats herself.
And she says, "I'm going to have a talk with all of their mothers after hearing about that." No wonder you don't want to hang out with them. You warn them, Molly. You tell them that that's very dangerous. And I suggest that you lead by example and not get into such dangerous magic. I know I can trust you to do that, though, right?
Yes, Mom.
You have a little moment with your mom because
No.
you're on the same side. She also she knows that it's dangerous, which is why she thinks it's a bad idea, and you just think it's stupid. But you're on the same side of the argument.
On a very tender moment on Monsterhearts.
And you got the fairies in trouble with their moms.
Owned.
Yay.
All right, now let's go to afternoon classes.
Fucking drawing.
Molly is totally holding a cup of Starbucks because she came in late.
All right. So, for the afternoon class, you have a choice between math and English.
Albright is English, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's math again?
The bottom left, Mr. Hendrick's class.
Hey, Divac.
Yeah.
Can we move one of the jocks so Cliff can sit next to Matilda?
Man, fucking Jack is always getting his ass moved.
Thanks, Divac. Fucking Jack.
Orville's going to sit down in Mr. Hendricks' class and unfortunately sit right between Vara and Lowell.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Yup.
Vara, come to math.
I was looking for my pog. I found it.
Yay.
Alright, everyone
There's an
goes to
empty
math
seat over
except
here.
Annika, so we're gonna do Annika's first.